Hi everyone, welcome to Reviewia Talks. This episode is going to be really interesting. We have a couple of young entrepreneurs on our show today. A lot of our professionals, our viewers, who watch our series or are connected to Reviewia in some way or the other, must be harboring aspirations to become entrepreneurs someday or the other. So today we have a couple of them who have been successful in making that transition from a corporate job to being an entrepreneur. So let's welcome Mayank and Mayur. Hi guys, welcome to our show.
Yeah, thank you very
Hi,
much,
hi,
Ajit.
and thanks,
Happy
Adi.
to be here.
Great, great. We are very happy to have you guys on our show. And as I said, this is about giving some sneak peek to our viewers about how do you make a transition from being a corporate professional to being an entrepreneur. So maybe we'll start by giving each of you an opportunity to give a brief about yourself, about your profile, and then we'll get into a Q&A.
Yeah, sure. Hello everyone. This is Mayank Sharma, and I'm born and brought up in a small city called Ujjain from Madhya Pradesh. Then I moved to Indore. I did my computer engineering from there. Later, I worked as a software engineer in Pune in a company called Amdocs. Post which I moved to XLRI. I did my PGT HRM back in 2017. Afterwards, I got a job in Reliance from the campus placements. I worked in a manufacturing unit in Naguthane. Then I moved to a greenfield project in Asian Paints Mysuru plant, which is the world's largest paint plant. So I was handling HR, security, and CSR profile there. Transitioning to entrepreneurship is something that I always had in my mind. I was dreaming about it since I was a kid. Even I cleared my Excel interview saying that I want to be an entrepreneur and I'm planning for it. And even I will try to do something in campus. Unfortunately, I was not able to do that. But once I was done with my education loan, I thought that now is the right time. I'm in my mid 20s. The responsibilities are a little less. It's a good time to explore uncharted territories. So then I take the leap of faith. Initially, I took a break of a few months. So I traveled around, read a lot, saw a lot of documentaries on entrepreneurship, and then joined Mayur, who was my engineering batchmate. So together we came up with Differ, which is our online career guidance venture.
Yeah, and hi guys. So I'm Mayur. Similar story, more or less. So for me, I'm from Madhya Pradesh, and all my studies till at least my graduation were in Madhya Pradesh. I did my engineering. I'm a computer engineer from Indore, and right after engineering, as a fresher, I moved to XLRI for an MBA, specialized in marketing over there. And like after once I got out of Excel, I worked in an industry I worked in a company in consumer electronics and something then, which took me 2.5 years, and after that I moved to another firm with an Alcobev business. So worked in two pretty varied industries, and my experience in both these jobs sort of led me to starting up, at least that's what I want to make myself believe. So my first company was a company that was pretty set with processes and standard operating procedures, and they had everything, the blocks for everything. And once that happened, after that I wanted to work in a startup, and I tried to get that experience going so that I could then myself use that experience and implement some things within a startup environment. Once my second job was over, eventually the most logical step for me to take was to build something on my own. And Mayank and I had already been in talks previously of trying to start something on our own. And I was in my late 20s, so I thought, if not now, then maybe never. So that's how I eventually took the leap.
Great. So, it'll be good for our viewers to get a little more understanding about your venture, Differ. So, would you want to give a little brief about what you guys are up to?
Yeah.
Sure.
So
So
yeah.
with Differ, the idea was to sort of do something in the career guidance domain, and education has always been close to our hearts. Mike and I have both worked in education, in the education sector, tried to do some social service over there, even when we were in college in engineering. So it was really close to our heart. and we had ourselves seen the impact of sort of not getting into the right career for you at the right time, and going in blind. And that is why we decided to sort of we decided upon this idea of differ. So with differ, our idea was to involve parents and students both in the decision making process for any choice of career stream, and apart from that introduce a mentor and try to get a guidance process, a mentoring process going for schools kids to just get to know what other courses are like once you get into them. So it's very easy for parents to say that okay, this exam you crack and you'll then prosper in life, but that is not how real life decisions should be made. It should not be some cousin who's been doing something and just told you ki, oh, it's okay. Or it shouldn't be just superficial research that you googled something and you found a list of colleges and okay, these colleges are good, let's target these colleges. You should at least have an understanding of what it entails, what that course is all about, which are the best institutes for that courses, how to get into them, what sort of preparation goes into getting into these colleges, what are the placement prospects or internship prospects. These are the questions parents are most curious about. So this is what we wanted to sort of bring together, and that is how differ came to be. So with differ, the idea for us is sort of guide students to pick the right choice of stream, and then mentor them in a way that they can understand in depth what the nitty gritties are.
Okay, great. So my next question is, what was your key motivation to do a startup? Both of you are graduates from XLRI, which is one of the best business schools in the country. You were in very good, jobs with very, very well-known organizations. An extremely bright professional future was there on offer. But why did you guys, chuck all of that and, took the plunge into entrepreneurship with so much of uncertainty around this journey? What was your motivation?
For personally, if I talk about me, it's something that nourished since my childhood. Like I used to read a lot about famous entrepreneurs, be it India like Dhirubhai Ambani, or be it Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, and all that. So I was always, I would say, when I was a kid, I was fascinated by the aura around an entrepreneur. But as I grew up, I was more fascinated by the process of building something from scratch, because that process is something that makes you feel alive. So just building something from scratch, you're on square one, you know nothing, and then you're learning. So it has a kind of thrill to it. The challenges are really vast, and you're just in a firefighting problem solving mode daily. So that is how I feel that the learning here is great. And my motivation here is just that only. I would say I'm still much motivated by the aura around an entrepreneur. That thing has not gone, but I've also fall in love with the process of building something from scratch.
Yeah, on the other hand, for me it was never such a huge decision, to be honest. So it sort of came naturally once I actually joined the startup and started working over there and understood how things work in a startup. I had thoughts for a couple of years to build something on my own, to try my hand at something. So for me it was more about learning to build something, and it just naturally the transition naturally happened. So there was not a lot of motivation required, to be honest. I mean, I know that cushy corporate jobs are very tough for us to leave, but it just occurred to me that if I don't take that leap at that point in time in my in my life, then eventually there are several commitments that might come up which will then not allow me to do this. So that's why I thought it was the right time, and it just the transition just happened.
Okay, great. So how has life changed, from being a corporate professional to an entrepreneur?
Waking up early has gone out of the window. I think that is the biggest change.
So earlier both of us were working 6 days, now we are working 7 days.
Yeah.
So that is one big change. And yeah, as Mayur was saying, so like there is no there are no boundaries when you're an entrepreneur. Like you may need to attend a call at 8 p.m. Mayur and I just call each other randomly for to just catch up at 10 p.m. and then we start talking about our venture and we end up talking till 3 a.m. on what should we do next and all that. In terms of the transition from corporate, for me there were a lot of, I would say, shocks, because when you are earning chunks of money, you don't plan your finances well in terms of short term expenses. Now you keep a track of where you're spending. And also my corporate life was busy. Like I was traveling to multiple cities, there were flights, there were 5-star hotels, and there is an identity that you have when you are in a corporate, and because of that identity you gain a lot of contacts, you are in meetings with a position of authority. uh, Once you start as an entrepreneur, it is gone. Like nobody, like when I go to meet a school principal or when I talk to a parent, they don't know I am from XLRI, or they don't know who I am or what value I can bring. Only what I my words will convey to them is the main ingredient of the conversation now, not the position I'm holding. So yeah, there was part of this expenses. Now before, earlier when I used to travel to Indore, I used to go by cab. Now I go by bus. So we are managing our expenses. We are very frugal now. So that is a change in personal life. In terms of professional life, it takes some time to adjust to your new identity, that since you're not associated with any brand. Like in the month of November was the first time I ever did cold calling, and one guy talked so rudely to me and I was like, what is this? But then I realized that now I don't have any identity, so I should be used to people being rude to me. So yeah, these are the changes.
Yeah, for me, I had a sales background, sales and marketing, and both my jobs involved a lot of on the ground running. So the whole work from home thing is not something that I ever related to in general. For me, working is you're running around on the ground and talking to people and trying to sell something, and that was what I had done for my job. And now that running on the ground is not a viable option, then that makes matters complicated. My anxiety owing to that rose in the initial few months as to what are we going to do now and how will work happen. So yeah, we had to find ways around that. I think the biggest change for me was just staying at home, and thinking that I'm not holidaying, I think is the biggest change.
Okay, great. So, a related question to this, given the society that we live in, there's a significant amount of anxiety that our family and well-wishers, seem to have whenever we want to do something which is a little unconventional. Especially
Yeah.
for folks like you who come out of one of the best institutes, fat packages are on offer. The family goes and feels proud that, hey, my son, my nephew is working in this company earning this much salary, and then suddenly they get to know that, okay, they've quit their jobs. Now, how do you handle that? How do you handle the concerns of your family and well-wishers? Questions like, okay, are you making enough now? Are you making whatever you were making in your job? And if the answer is no, then there is inherent pressure to go back
Yeah.
into a job which pays you equivalent or a little more. So how do you handle these kind of pressures and concerns?
Yeah, it's like a 360-degree feedback every day, so to speak. So you get feedback from everybody. So it'll be family, it'll be friends. You do this, or how, why don't you try to change this, and why don't you try this? And everybody sort of speculates as to how much you're earning right now, or whether or not you're stable in a financial condition that will help you, get through this crisis. I think for me, the biggest worry was that my own parents would not relate to what I'm trying to do. I won't say that has been 100% allayed. That worry still is there. My parents and I still sometimes, there are still clashes around the idea of entrepreneurship. But at times like these, an ostrich mentality can sort of help you out. You can just dig your head in the mud and not listen to what people are saying. I think staying at home and working as an entrepreneur after leaving a corporate job, I think that's the best you can do, because everybody has a right to their opinion. You can't really stop parents. Still, I'd say my family has been more than understanding, because clashes are very infrequent. So I'm grateful for that. I don't know how they have so much confidence in me, but I'm grateful that they do.
For me, there was some initial resistance when I was in my job. I once remember my father told me that your 1 year CTC is more than my lifetime savings. So, like, do you even are you even grateful for your job and how much you're earning? Because I was earning shitloads of money. Even I was earning uh, 8 times more money than my first software engineering job. So, yeah, this questions are always there. But to be very honest, I consider myself very fortunate. Once that initial resistance period was over, my parents were really supportive. Because of lockdown, also it helped. I was away from home since last 11 years. So when I came home, and they were very happy that at least we will spend some time with family, and that happened. And also I personally feel things are a little changing. Like my father earlier used to be a little worried, but then you see the newspaper stories of Ola, Oyo, how young entrepreneurs are changing in the world, and somehow it inculcated some confidence in them also, that if others are doing, maybe my son can also do that. So yeah, my family is pretty supportive. As far as relatives and society is concerned, they will definitely have a lot of questions, and these questions are really nagging at times. So how much are you earning, what is happening? And due to COVID also, people are very curious that chal bhi raha hai ya nahi chal raha hai and all that. So there's always this question of justifying the opportunity cost. When you are like
Hmm.
every day you work and not earn, you're losing money, so to say. And there's no logical answer to that. Like, people would expect you to come to a logical answer, but there is none. At the end of the day, if you are, it is something that happens in hindsight. If you are successful, then you are a famous story, you are an icon. If you are a failure, then you return again to the corporate or whatever you want to do. So I guess a lot of things will settle in future only. There's no right or wrong answer you can provide to people. And dealing anxiety is something, it's a never ending fight with your own demons, I would say. So sometimes you are able to do that, there are times that you require some external help. That is how it works.
Great. I think both of you gave some brilliant perspective on how to handle such situations. Uh, my next question is kind of related. People say, people who are in their 30s and 40s, they say, yeah, we can't do it now because we have a lot of opportunity cost that we'll have to bear. But it is easier for the younger folks. So now both of you are in your 20s. Uh, I'm sure you would have also had some challenges to make this transition. So what
Yeah.
were the challenges that you had to kind of resolve or consider to make this transition?
So what I personally feel is there is a conventional safer route people explain. People suggest sometimes that keep your day job, do something side by side, start earning as much money as you are making in your day job, and then quit. I personally feel it is not possible in modern world, especially because our jobs are too stressful and complicated, and building something from scratch requires a lot of dedication. It's not something you can do over a 2 hour work on a weekend. So you have to take a leap of faith. I get a lot of call from young people, like batch of 21 MBA, batch of 22, even those who are joining, those who are in corporate, and everyone, like I was explaining, they expect a logical answer to it. Like, you should have on paper justify के defer बन गया है तो defer 3 साल बाद इतना successful हो जाएगा. But these are just projections. At the end of the day, entrepreneurship is not a very logical decision. It is something you have to do because you want to see a change. It has a lot of risk associated with it. I don't know how true the figure is that 90% of the startup fails, only 1% startup gets funding. But somewhere down the line, we know that a lot of startup fails. So whenever someone asks me, I always say the same thing, that if you are equating monetary benefits, then you won't be able to justify it. The opportunity cost can be justified only through non-monetary rewards. Like, when you become an entrepreneur, you gain an identity. So earlier I was just an HR manager of Reliance or Asian Paints. Now I'm Mayank Sharma, the co-founder of Defer. Now when I'm invited in speaker series in some IIM or some other college, I go as Mayank Sharma, or I go as the co-founder of Defer. I talk to a lot of people. I am increasing my personal network. The identity is being built. So all this learning happens, and that is how you can justify that opportunity cost. Because if you start thinking purely in terms of, it is not easy कि startup बनाया और 6 महीने में जो हम न्यूज़पेपर में कई बार पढ़ते हैं, internet पे पढ़ते हैं, these two people started a venture and created 100 crore company from 10 rupees. I think these are very rare stories. For most normal guys, the story is full of struggle for 18-24 months. You are pivoting a lot. You are trying to just stay, keep your head over the water, and then eventually those who are persistent, those who are learning a lot, and those who are lucky. I would also use the word lucky because of what we are seeing in COVID days. They are able to reap the benefits monetary. But that still, even if your venture fails, I would personally feel it is worth it. That opportunity cost for the kind of learning you get in these 18, 24, 36 months is completely worth it.
Uh, yeah, for me, I think the biggest challenge was setting the expectations right. It really matters to me that in life, it matters to me that my expectations don't fail me, or I don't sort of end up with unrealistic expectations, and which then end up not translating to reality. So when I was thinking about quitting a job, I did my own research. I sort of build that foundation of realistic expectations. And while you're in a job, to actually make that picture clear to yourself and sort of let go of all the supposed versions of glorious startups, and sort of look at, if this fails, what happens, or if, what is the sacrifice that I have to give, what will the first 6 months or the first 1 year or 2 years look like. I think setting those expectations right was the biggest challenge. Even in terms of my own motivation, that tested me, because I did my research back then. So once I was through with that, the decision it was to be taken in a personal capacity, and not, as Mayank said, in a monetary capacity or in any other form. So for me, it was just after that was, are my expectations realistic, and am I prepared to put in this much effort into something. So yeah, that was the hard part. Once that I crossed that boundary, I think it got easier.
So great point, Mayur. I think what you said, you calibrated your expectations and then you took the plunge. But as the journey of entrepreneurship goes, I'm sure you would have had your set of surprises and learnings. So
Yeah,
what has been your key learnings since you guys have become entrepreneurs?
I think COVID was the biggest setback. Obviously, I think wouldn't be just for me, for everyone who started around the same time or even before. So COVID was out of expectations of everybody. Apart from that, more or less because I came from a sales background, so personal interactions and selling stuff and trying to do business or trying to build something, I sort of had that experience. So that helped me a lot in allaying my fears, so that I'm not too anxious, because I tend to overthink a lot, and then get anxious. Oh, this is not getting results, so this is not working. And to curb that instinct to instantly change something that is not working in the short term. So yeah, that is one big thing that I have to control. It's a big challenge.
For me personally, I was always the guy who liked to plan. Oh, this will happen and that will happen and that should happen. So there were a lot of conditions that should be fulfilled to keep me happy. But what I have learned during last 7-8 months is that you have to embrace uncertainty. Nothing will go as per the plan if you are a co-founder. A lot of things will change. We have spent weeks on creating some plan, and somehow, like I will just give an example. In the last week of December, Mayur and I sat and we created a beautiful plan, assuming that the board exams will be held in
Yeah.
March, and we will get April, May, June month where the students are free. So it was a very detailed plan on what will happen on each day, and then suddenly one fine day the government postponed the exams to May, and then the exam got cancelled. So there are a lot of things that are changing. I guess even in the pre-COVID world, also entrepreneurs faces this kind of an issue. So I'm making my peace in embracing these uncertainties, that in future also, even if we are financially successful, or we are a very we are known as a successful startup, still things, there's a huge possibility things won't go as per the plan, and I have to be ready for that.
I think that's a great point, Mayank. The ability to embrace uncertainty, I personally feel is one of the biggest requirements, to be an entrepreneur for a significant period of time, because that really can get to people. So, a great point. Okay, so now we come to the last question of our talk today. What is your key message to professionals who are currently considering, should I plunge into entrepreneurship, should I not, or they are into analysis paralysis, victim of their situations and responsibilities? What would be your message to them?
Firstly, I will say that don't wait for a right time. There will never be a right time. So just ensure that you are fulfilling your basic criteria. Like if you have some financial dependencies, first clear them. If you have some other responsibilities, but then never paint a fully perfect picture that this will be fulfilled, this will be fulfilled, this will be fulfilled, and now and I will become an entrepreneur. There will come a time where you have to keep a blind faith on your abilities and the universe plan for you, and then take that plunge. That is the only thing I can say.
Yeah, similarly for me, it's more or less on similar lines. So essentially, you can't look for logical ways and means to justify an illogical decision, and taking the plunge for entrepreneurship is definitely an illogical decision for anyone. It's about a leap of faith. It's about how, if you trust yourself, if you trust, I don't know, fate, whatever, but it's a leap of faith at the end of the day. So don't search for logical means to justify it. Opportunity costs or financial projections or a lot of planning might help you out, but those cannot be the core reasons for which you will take that plunge, and those cannot be the decisive factors, I think. If you can take that plunge with your eyes closed, nothing like it. But then yeah, if you cannot, then maybe it's better to not do that.
Great, great. I think this was a great interaction. I personally got a lot of value from listening to your perspectives, and I'm sure our viewers would also find it extremely valuable for them. Thanks, guys. Thanks both of you for taking out the time and sharing your views on this topic with us and our viewers. We wish you all the very best for Differ. We hope to see it become the go-to product when it comes to career counseling, in India very soon.
Thank
Okay,
you.
okay.
Thanks, Ariji.
Okay.
Great
Thank
interacting with you, and really happy to answer your questions.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Great. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye bye.